Have you ever been to a play or been to a theater? That's exactly the image that Jesus is referring to in Matthew 6, 1 through 18, when he's comparing the religious people to hypocrites, hypokritís, which really meant just an actor. So he was using that as a metaphor and an analogy, which we can connect to as well. And there's three promotional things that these actors did in his day, that really actors do in our day too, that he wants to say, hey, that's great out in the acting world. That's great in the theater. It's not great for your own heart. It's not great for your personal spirituality. So when we hear the word hypocrite, it can sound extremely judgmental, and it can be meant that way, but it's really just an analogy here to be able to paint the two scenes of what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. So there were three promotional tools that the hypocrites, the actors, used that are great in the theater, that are not great for our own spirit. The first one, when he is talking about giving, he said, don't be like the actors who sound the trumpet. Don't sound the trumpet about your giving. And the trumpet would often announce when a group of actors entered the city. And the trumpet would sound and everybody would be excited because they know that the show was coming and things were getting close. It was a lot of fanfare. It was a lot of excitement. And so when Jesus is talking about giving, he really means don't give with all of this fanfare and excitement. Your generosity should simply be from your spirit and from your heart. And it is, honestly, if you're going to be giving today, sometimes there is that desire for other people to know how much we're giving. Think about any of the GoFundMe things that are out there, or if you're part of raising money. My son's raising money for something right now, and you've got the option to be anonymous, or you've got the option to put in your name and a little bit about yourself, and you get to see what other people are giving, right? I get to see, oh, well, somebody just gave $50, and somebody else just gave $100. Maybe I should give $200 and put my name on it so that everybody gets to see. And maybe they'll even want to give more based on my generosity. That's sounding the trumpet. Now, there's nothing wrong if you put your name down. It's not that type of teaching that's taking place in this scripture. But it's to say, where's the true desire? Is the true desire for me to get recognition and for me to show my generosity and to sound a trumpet about it? Or is my true motivation, my true heart, is actually to give to this cause, whether I receive any accolades or not? So that's the context of this scene. The second thing he says is don't go and pray on the street corners like the hypocrites. What did the hypocrites do? They would take a little bit of their acting troupe, and they would go out to the street corners, and they would go to places that were busy, and they would produce a little bit of the show so that people would get interested, they'd get excited about it, and they want to see the rest of it. If you're in any major city, there's plenty of street performers. But think about the street performer who also has a show that night, who says, come and check this out, I'm going to sing a few songs. Everybody's like, wow, that person's really great. She's fantastic. We need to go see her show. So he's saying with the religious people, don't go and pray on the street corners and invite people to your show. Don't go and pray in such a spiritual way that people, and I do this way too, I get so tickled. I looked at my last video, I was like doing this all the time, which is ridiculous. But basically, don't be out there praying and inviting people to your church. Don't be out there praying in a way that is going to make people want to come and be part of your spiritual activity because they're so impressed with how spiritual you are, and it's really just an act. That you showed up on that corner to get attention. You didn't show up on that corner simply to pray and to have a conversation with God or anything like that. You did it just to attract people to you. You're not doing it to attract people to this spiritual walk. So that was the second thing. The first thing was sounding the trumpet. The second thing was going and putting on an act on the street corner to invite people in to your religious or spiritual service. And then finally, he talks about fasting. And with fasting, he says, look, just clean yourself up. Don't put on the actor's makeup. Don't put on the actor's makeup. Don't make your face so drawn so that people can tell that you're in distress. And that's what we actually want in the theater. We want the makeup to represent the character. And if you're all the way in the back of the theater, you want to be able to see that facial expression. You want to be able to see their clothing representing that character. All the way from the back, you want to be able to see the nuances. And so he says, when actors do that, hey, it's fine. But when spiritual people do that, when we put on clothing to draw attention to us, when we, which is so interesting because certain religious activities do have certain types of clothing, right? So let's not get too far into that and think that it's wrong to do that. There's nothing wrong with that unless I'm putting on this garb to show how spiritual I am. I'm going to do my hair this way. I'm going to wear this jewelry to prove that I'm spiritual outside of just my regular day-to-day actions, which should put my spirituality on display without any fanfare. So he's using these acting tools to make us aware of, hey, all this stuff in the theater, it's great. Go to the theater, enjoy it, let the trumpet blow, watch the troupe on the street corner, and make sure that they are absolutely putting on the makeup and the clothing represent their character. However, when it comes to you being spiritual, there's no need to blow the trumpet, there's no need to go out on the street corner, and there's no need to put on all the things because you're not a character. You're a soul. You are a being. So there's no reason whatsoever to try to put on the attire or the announcements to declare something that we're really not, that we simply need to be, simply need to become. Hey, if you don't mind, subscribe to this channel and click the notifications. And if you're not already part of the 1010 Life Letter, go to 1010lifeletter.com or paulbevans.com and sign up today. Hey, if you're an actor, keep on acting. If you're spiritual, don't put on an act, just be authentic. Be blessed.